Alright, so cluck everybody. It's been a while, right? Um, I missed not doing my Halloween videos this year, but like, life. Um, and so I just thought I'd come on and do like a nice little talk about horror movies, which is my favorite. I watch horror movies like year round anyway, but I like always pick it up this time of the year. My husband hates it. Like he's fine with horror movies, but he's just like, why do you have to watch nothing but horror movies this time of the year? I'm like, because it's the season. Look, since I didn't dress up, I did. Can't find. I got this thingy. I wore my Jack Skellington shirt. Learning how to use this thing. So, this is like super vintage. It's like, it's very old. But I always wear it around this time of the year. So I did do costumes this year, just not for video. Like we had a Halloween contest Saturday night, yep, which is, I was actually there when I found out about Matthew Perry, which was like super, super duper sad. I got the notification and I literally went, oh my God. And my husband was like, oh my God, what? And I was like, Matthew Perry died. He was like, oh my God, I thought it was your mom. The way you reacted, I mean, it might as well have been. I mean, it was really sad. I hate the squeaky chair. It's like, because I want the wall backdrop, and so I put the squeaky chairs against the wall because nobody sits there. Anyway, so I was going to do this video outside, but it's like super windy, and it just interferes with the sound even when I wear my lapel mic and stuff that's supposed to have like a windsock, but it doesn't work with crap, probably because it's cheap. I have no idea how much it cost. My husband bought it for me, but I'm assuming he didn't spend like a whole lot of money on it since it works kind of crappy. So we're just doing it inside. I'll get some more videos of the chickens though for you. Oh, I'll also show y'all the picture of me. Well, I don't have any without my husband. I'll have to ask him. Are you okay with me showing that picture of us? So I did a steampunk Snow White. I've been making this outfit for 2 years. So, and honestly, still not like, there's still some pieces I want to add, but it was good enough to debut this year. I did not win. A store-bought hippie costume beat me, and I'm not saying that like out of jealousy because it was a fine costume, whatever. But if I didn't win, there was like plenty of other people that deserved to win besides me, so I was just like, ugh. So rigged. But I mean, there was like some magnificent Day of the Dead people and stuff like that, or I think that's what it's called, like when they do all the makeup. I could never do that. I hate makeup. I hate makeup. I can never just wear makeup like that much, especially throughout the night. So for actual Halloween, I'm putting together like a reimagined steampunk strawberry shortcake. So, and it's definitely not ready to debut. So I'm just gonna wear like the pieces I do have for Halloween since I'm just handing out candy. And maybe I will have that ready by next year. Hoping. That's been a fun one to put together. I like to put together like steampunk costumes. So it's a hobby. I've got a couple I'm working on. I've got Ariel from Little Mermaid. What's another one? Oh, okay. So one, I'm trying to do a hippie version Wonder Woman. It's super cool. I'll have to just show y'all some of the pieces I'm getting together for it. But the strawberry shortcake has been really fun. Like I said, I still need to do a few more pieces. I need to, there's going to be a lot more sewing involved in that one for it's really ready to debut for the public. And I just went on way too long about costumes when this is supposed to be about horror movies. So, what I did, because there's like a whole bunch of subgenres of horror, right? So I really wanted to, my initial thought was I'm going to go through every subgenre. There were so many, so I was like, yeah, nah, I'm going to make my 5 favorite subgenres, right? And so I got those listed, and then I kind of got one. I went ahead and added like an honorable mention because it's probably a lot of people's favorite subgenre. But not only that, but number one and two of my favorite subgenres are really, they're just one. They're basically tied, but I went ahead and did number them. So that was hard. That was super hard. Um, so anyway, a lot of these will cross over into genres, which is cool because I was able to add a lot more of my favorites. And I got some cool stories to tell about, some of my favorites. So my number one top favorite subgenre in horror movies is going to be the slasher films, because I grew up in the 80s, right? So slasher films were very popular, really coming into their own during that time. So I'm just really drawn to them. So I would definitely say that they're my favorite. And so my top three favorite, and this was like, well, number one wasn't really hard for me, but the other ones were kind of hard. But number one is absolutely Halloween, the movie. Michael Myers, great. I'm not sure if Halloween began. I mean, they kind of began. They were very close. They didn't actually begin the slasher subgenre. I don't know. I just love them all. Even the new ones that people hate. Like, if a Halloween movie comes out, I'm watching it. I don't care if it's even oh my god, even Halloween 3, which is not even really a Michael Myers movie. It sucked. It may have been a good movie on its own, like if it wasn't presented as a Halloween movie. Season of the Witch, that's what it's called. It may have been okay that way. It's just not okay in the actual franchise, though. They could have easily just called it Season of the Witch and dropped Halloween. And I get there's like a slight tie-in to Michael Myers, but not really. So, if I had to guess my favorite Halloween movie, I mean, I don't know. You can't really go wrong with the first one, Jamie Lee Curtis. I mean, yeah. I mean, I like the Rob Zombie versions too. Yeah, I mean, I do like the Jamie Lloyd storyline. During, I think it was 4 or 5, and even 6. Paul Rudd was in 6. A lot of people don't know that. But yeah, absolutely. I think I just have to go with 1 as far as my favorite. It started it off. I'm like that with a lot of franchises. Like, the first one's just going to always be my favorite. Alright, so probably my second one is Nightmare Before Christmas. It was definitely, Nightmare Before Christmas. Sorry. Nightmare on Elm Street, Freddy. It was one of those that just scared me as a kid. Johnny Depp, of course, by the way. There's a lot of people that's been on those. There's Patricia Arquette. Lawrence Fishburne was on one. Bitch, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. I was like rewatching it a few years ago, and I was like, Morpheus is in Nightmare on Elm Street. It was crazy. So, let's see. I'm trying to think. It seems like there was somebody else kind of famous. Is it Breckin Meyer? He was in one. Yeah, there's a lot of famous people in those movies, and but yeah, that movie just, it was like a whole new level for me as a kid watching it. So it's definitely number 2, and Wes Craven, by the way. I mean, I know there's probably that Stephen King is a great horror person, but like Wes Craven's my all-time favorite horror person ever. Which brings me to my third one, Scream. Alright, so Scream was like right when the slasher film started like really dying down. Here comes Scream. Yes. Love Scream. Wes Craven. And so my oldest son's father, it was his very first date that we went and saw that in the movie theater. So this is just a funny story. I always think about it when I watch Scream. It was sold out in the theaters, but apparently they didn't know when they were selling tickets. So we go in, there's nowhere to sit. but we really wanted to see it, so we just sat down like right in the aisle to watch it. And apparently, while we're watching it, somebody had obviously came in and realized there was no seats and went out and told the manager. So the manager comes in and he's like walking around. He like trips over us, which scares a bunch of people in the theater. Um, and he was like, "What are y'all doing?" We're like, "We bought tickets. There's nowhere to sit." So anyway, he came back. He left. And he seemed kind of ticked. We thought we were getting ready to get kicked out. But he came back and brought us like a bunch of free movie vouchers. So we actually ended up leaving halfway through the movie and just coming back and watching it the next night. So I always think of that experience when I think of Scream. Once again, pretty much all the Screams. You know, the newer ones, they're not my favorite, but I still definitely watch them. So, all right, I think we just ended the slasher films. If I had to do an honorable mention on the slasher films, I mean, Friday the 13th. One thing I have to tell you about slasher films, I pretty much learned about sex through slasher films. Because, I mean, I was watching slasher films from the time I could walk. I had older brother and sister, so they were watching it, so I was just watching it, you know. And my parents, you know, looking back at some of the stuff I watched when I was a kid, I kind of questioned their parenting skills, but hey, I guess I turned out okay. All right, so the second one, and the one that was really super closely taught, like, I still don't even want to call it number two. I kind of consider this also first, is the supernatural horror films. And there's so many of those. I mean, it was super hard. Like, I got it down to three, but it was hard. And honestly, the three that I have down are just classics. So the first one is The Exorcist, right? You gotta love that. Do y'all remember when what they did, like a director's cut or something back in I think it was like early 2000s, and they added a few things, including that creepy spider walk thing. Oh my god, that creeped me out. I watched it, and I literally took it. I think I'd rented it because you could rent. You were still renting movies back then, and I got it from Blockbuster. Watched it. I literally took it out back out to Blockbuster that night. I was like, I don't even want this movie in my house right now. It just that creepy spider walk thing creeped me out so bad. So my funny story about Exorcist is, I think I was probably like 7 or 8 when I very first watched it. Once again, questionable parenting skills there, right? It scared the bejesus out of me. I refused to. All right, that night I wanted to sleep with my parents. 7 or 8 ways to roll to sleep with your parents. Also, I've never been one of those people that went and wanted to sleep with my parents ever in my entire life, even as a baby. So I remember my mom being like, "Why did this movie scare you so much? You watched Freddy, you watched Jason," and I remember looking at her and being like, "Are you crazy? Freddy and Jason aren't real, Mama. The devil is real." And I refused to sleep in my bed until they took my mattress off the bed and put it on the floor, because in my 7-year-old mind, the devil was underneath her bed hiding and like coming up through the mattress. Like, that's what I thought was happening. And yeah, that movie creeped me out. I had nightmares. I could not sleep. I don't. So number 2 is going to be Poltergeist. Now, my real fun story about Poltergeist is I looked just like, what was her name? Heather Donahue? No, that's the girl from Blair Witch. Heather, the girl who played Carol Ann. I can't think of her name. I looked just like her as a kid. I will put a picture somewhere around here just so y'all can see how much I looked like her. And my older brother looked just like Robbie, the older brother in Poltergeist. And my older sister looked very similar to Dominic Dune, who played, I can't even remember her name, but the older sister in that movie. And we also had that super creepy clown that's in that movie. So that movie just is, you know, super, like, just one of those movies that is a go-to definitely at Christmas. You know, I'm one of those people that I'll watch a remake and I don't, even if I don't like them, it's like whatever. But I really didn't like that remake. That's one that I watched it and I won't watch again. And the other, like even like the actually I like the Friday the 13th remake, but I didn't care for the Nightmare on Elm Street remake. But I would watch it again. And I won't watch the Poltergeist remake again. I also very like Poltergeist 2 a lot. Poltergeist 3 I'll watch, but it's not my favorite. Poltergeist 2, that creepy preacher man. Scary, scary, scary. Okay, so my third supernatural horror movie is definitely Amityville. Obviously, I like true crime. So it really like goes hand in hand because even though they don't go into the murders too much, it's still like there. So definitely, definitely Amityville Horror is up there. Remake and original. Love them both. So I know a lot of people don't like the remake. I really like the remake. Now when I say I don't like the whole series, I like the original Amityville and I like the remake. The other ones can kind of kick rocks. Whatever. Alright, so number 3 is found footage, okay? Now I have a love-hate relationship with found footage films because they can be freaking awesome. Or they can be not like the slightest little thing can go wrong and just ugh. So found footage is my third. And I mean, it's like I said, it's hit or miss. Now number 1, I definitely have to go with Blair Witch because it's not the original film. Like I would say Cannibal Holocaust. That might be the original found footage film. I'm not sure, but Blair Witch is like original in my eyes just because it was kind of brought the subgenre back to life. So we got to go with that number one, and Blair Witch. I remember the first time I saw it, just feeling like super motion sickness. Now I can watch film footage, film no problem. But it was a great concept. I mean, I really love that movie. Even the snot nose. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna make a video. Snot nose. No, I would never do that. I actually hate it. I hate it when my nose runs, and like right now, just thinking about it, it's almost making my nose run, and I'm like freaking out, like getting a little paranoid because I don't want my nose run on film. Okay, so second, absolutely Paranormal Activity. Yeah, they really hit something there. I'm not necessarily a fan of all of them, but definitely the first few. So they're in there for sure. Now my third one, and it's probably more my second one, but I went ahead and moved it down to 3 because I'm not sure if it's really considered found footage. I mean, I think it is. It's definitely also fits in the supernatural category, but it's The Devil Inside. It's about the woman who's making a documentary about meeting her mother who had killed a bunch of people and an exorcist, and she goes to Rome. And anyway, it's a really good movie. If you haven't seen it, check it out, The Devil Inside. When it came out, there were a few jump scares that got me. When a jump scare gets me these days, I call it a win. Okay, this movie's good. And I have an honorable mention for this one because because of the jump. It got me a couple of times with the jump scares, and it's not. I don't think it's very popular. And I'm not even sure if it went to theaters because I didn't see it in theaters. I remember just like scrolling along on Amazon Prime one day and seeing it and be like, I'll give it a try. And it being actually pretty good. So it's Hell House. And they have a few of them, but just watch the first one. I've watched the other ones. They're fine. But the first one's what really kind of got me. And if you want to watch other ones after that, go for it. But yeah, it's actually Hell House LLC. So, all right. So number 4 is monster genre. So the monster genre really is going to coincide a lot with my 5th one, sci-fi genre, and I mean they just kind of go hand in hand. And even though monsters, I know a lot of people consider like Dracula a monster horror and stuff like that. I don't. I just call that classic horrors, which I do like. They didn't make my top 5 list, but um, so I mean, absolutely The Thing. For one thing, pretty much any. I can't think of anything John Carpenter has done that I don't like. I am a big John Carpenter fan. So The Thing, absolutely, and also Kurt Russell. Still gets me out. Wiping the drool away. I love me some Kurt Russell. Um, so yeah, absolutely The Thing, and that probably fits in sci-fi too. That some people might think that's more sci-fi. Number 2 is Little Shop of Horror. Okay, any of the versions, I love them. I don't know what it is about that movie. I've just always liked it. Of course, I love the Rick Moranis version. But the original one, I can't think of his name, but it's definitely worth a watch, especially if you like the first one. Like, you almost need to, just to see where you're coming from. So, third is a little movie. It might be kind of a cult classic by now. I love it. There's like so many cute little fun punchlines in it. Yes, it is like a kid scary movie, but it's still super great. And that's Monster Squad, which, I mean, does have the Dracula and stuff in it, but they have Wolfman. They have, like, all the classic monsters. I love that movie. I'm going to watch that today. I'm pretty sure it's on one of my streaming services right now, surely. I love that movie. I remember watching it when it very first came out back, and I was like perfect age for it too. So maybe that's also it's very I mean, I was the perfect age for it. So it had some of the risque jokes for that age. So I'm gonna be like, can I watch this? Not that my parents cared because they let me watch Exorcist when I was 7. So, but it was funny because there were kids making the jokes. So, now I have an honorable mention because it's not really considered horror. It's actually considered adventure. And I think a lot of people do that. I think a lot of movies do that. They're kind of horror because horrors, they just don't like to, a lot of movies don't like to consider themselves horror, even though they are. But and that movie is Jurassic Park. Let's see, it came out in 93, so I was 12. And I'm going to tell you, that movie scared the crap out of me. Look, that boom, boom with the water, as a 12-year-old, scared the crap out of me. I remember, like, I watched it, and, like, somebody a little bit later was like, hey, you want to watch Jurassic Park? And I was like, no! Like, I did not want to watch it again. That's how bad it scared me. And I'm pretty sure I had a nightmare. Also, that's another thing. If a movie gives me a nightmare, because horror movies just don't typically give you nightmares. But if a movie does give me nightmares, that's another win for it. Let's see. So, okay. So, number 5 is sci-fi horror for me. Sci-fi horror, one of the main reasons I like it is because my husband's a big sci-fi fan, and it's one of the few horror movies that we can kind of agree on. Alright, so, absolutely, number 1, in everybody's book, right? Alien. Gotta be. It's classic, that thing scared the crap out of me. I just thought of a horror movie I didn't add on Monster because one of the actors is in it, Pumpkinhead. I'll go back for a minute. Pumpkinhead. Love that movie. Okay. Yeah, Alias. So Lance Hendrickson is in both, so that was the tie-in. Sorry, squirrel. But yeah, in space, no one can hear you scream. Definitely scary. I remember watching it, pretty young and just being like, oh my god, I don't like this. I don't like that thing. Oh my god. So yeah, that's why that made it. Number 2, I really like The Faculty. I know it's sort of like a teenage movie and stuff, but maybe that kind of popped in my head when I was rating these because I have just recently watched it. But it was pretty good. It was a fairly original concept, so that's definitely made the list. And number 3 is that new that new movie Megan with the creepy doll, and the reason why I added that because that doll is creepy. There was the funny spot where the doll dances. That's cool, and once again I probably added that because it's one of the better sci-fi horror movies that I've seen recently. So absolutely add that in there. I don't have an honorable mention for sci-fi. Sci-fi is definitely not my favorite, but like I said, I added it because it's one of the few that I can, me and my husband can agree on. So number 6, and this is my honorable mention genre, and this is probably a lot of people's favorite subgenre, but it's zombie movies, and let me tell you why it's definitely not one of my favorites. Zombies creep me out, dude. I don't like them. Like, I watch The Walking Dead and stuff, but I mainly watch it for the drama, not for the zombies. Because I don't like... Zombies creep me out. I don't like things coming at me biting. Which is weird, considering I have chickens coming at me biting all the time. But yeah. Anyway, I got a list of those. I'll go ahead and add. I mean, there were some. But absolutely, number 1, scariest is 28 Days Later. Okay, I already don't like zombies coming at me biting, trying to eat brains and stuff. But when they come running, I remember watching it for the first time and seeing these zombies just like, running way faster than I could run. Definitely gonna eat me if one of those zombies comes after me. And yeah, that creeped me out. I was just like, oh no, don't like this, I don't like it. So yeah, that 28 Days Later is a scared freaking zombie movie. So I have to go back to, for my number 2 is Night of the Living Dead. Absolutely, you got to add those if you're rating zombie movies. We wouldn't have zombie movies if it wasn't for that. George Romero, I mean, it was perfect. My mom has a funny story about how, I guess back then, like, her parents would just drop her off at the theater and then go do their thing and pick her up. So she's like, from my understanding, she was pretty young. She was born in 57. I'm not sure when that movie came out, so it was in theaters. And yeah, she went in there. She was like, it scared her really bad. So, and she was in there watching it alone, which is probably, like, as a kid, you like an adult there watching a scary movie with you, so it probably creeped her out pretty good. So, and then number 3 is World War Z, because World War Z, it was just nicely done, I would say. I wouldn't, there was definitely scary moments. It's got Brad Pitt, can't go wrong. Actually, I have a confession to make. I'm not a big Brad Pitt fan. Don't hate me. There's a couple of good movies, but as far as like just thinking he's like super duper hot, I've never thought Brad Pitt was super duper hot. I pretty much only like Brad Pitt when he has long hair, which is weird because I'm not one of those people that likes men with long hair. Except Jason Momoa, right? Oh my god. Does Jason Momoa... Alright, I'm going to look at and see if Jason Momoa has ever done a horror movie, because I'm going to have to see that. I can't think of one right off. I think that's the end of my list. Now, if you are interested in a chicken horror movie, there is a chicken horror movie. It's called Poultrygeist, Night of the Living Chicken. It's horrible. But if you're just in the mood for a fun, silly chicken horror movie, go for it. I'm pretty sure it's free on YouTube. I don't even know if I finished it. I started watching it. I was just like, ew. But anyway, just thought I'd throw that one in there. This video ended up being super long. Apologies. But cluck cluck, everybody. Happy Halloween. And I'm going to edit this and try to add some of those pictures I said I was going to add. And I hope that everyone gets lots of candy and lots of scares.